it should be Athah Story Festival. It's also going back to our roots. So, of course, first and foremost, wishing everybody happy World Storytelling Day. और आज बच्चों का चिल्ड्रन थिएटर डे भी है. So it's a nice day we have got. So we decided to keep it on this day. I thought it's a right day to celebrate stories. But हमारा ऐसा concept पहले से था. Normally, you know, world storytelling जो overall world में, so there is always a theme. But my concept was that we don't want to keep a theme. We don't want to stick to anything. The idea is that we celebrate stories. Stories in different forms, different genres, by different people. You know, so then that is where you get that beauty. And even today, like, so we have 2 sessions. All of you are here. So I will not bore you. I want to go to the actual stories. Even I am very keen on listening to them. So we have 3 stories in the first session, 5:30 to 6:30, and then we will have 7 to 8. So 5:30, of course, we have way past. Hello everyone. People have joined us on online also. Hi, thank you so much for being here. Please stay till the end of the session, or please let your friends know about this event, because बहुत से लोग यहाँ जुड़ने वाले हैं. Lot of interesting stories are happening. तो प्लीज़ जुड़ जाइए और छोड़ के मत जाइएगा प्लीज़. ये ऑनलाइन में जो ना थोड़ी सी गंदी हैबिट हो गई है, प्लीज़ आप ऐसा मत करिए. प्लीज़ अपने कमेंट्स डालते रहिएगा. एट द एंड ऑफ द सेशन वी आर गोइंग टू रीड योर कमेंट्स, वी आर गोइंग टू कनेक्ट टू यू. और प्लीज़ चैनल पे आए हैं तो सब्सक्राइब भी कर ही लीजिए, यू नो, तो फिर बार बार वो नाता बना रहेगा, रिश्ता बना रहेगा. एंड हियर वी हैव वंडरफुल ऑडियंस विथ अस फिजिकली सिटिंग. एंड as I said, we have brilliant storytellers today. In between, we are taking, for the physical audience, this is a special note. There is a 15-minute, we will take a break. Alright, so then 7 o'clock session we will begin like sharp, you know, we will not delay. This is the first session, so it took us a while to start. So that will be, so in between, if you guys want, for the grown-ups, there is a nice coffee, and for children there is a hot chocolate. मतलब vice versa, ऐसा नहीं है कि आप बड़े हैं तो आप भी chocolate पी सकते हो, और बच्चे, मुझे problem नहीं है, we are not here to judge, but whatever. तो यहाँ पे बहुत अच्छा homemade, in fact this is, we are very thankful to Kapi, am I pronouncing it right, Kapi? So she is, in fact, for all our judges, she has brought nice ready coffee. You just go home and add milk, sugar, or no, not even sugar is required. No? Everything is there. Milk or water or whatever you prefer, and it's there. It will be a part of your hamper, and all of you who are here, please, you can have it. Okay, and we also have another wonderful confectionery partner. So chocolates हैं जो भी हम judges को मिलेंगे, हम सब, we are like not so lucky, but वो भी हम ले लेंगे. So the D chocolate. So that's another company. So thank you to both the partners. Thank you so much for being. It's a small thing, and still to be a part of it and to contribute, that really speaks a lot. I mean, personally very thankful. Now again coming back to the session. So as I said, the 3 performers in the first session. We are starting with the first performance, that is by actor Ritul Singh. So Ritul Singh is an actor, Lucknow based है, यहाँ पे मुंबई में बहुत से plays करते हैं, and for this particular thing he has performed, he has come up with a brilliant piece, and I'm very excited to see. Ritul ने stage पे बहुत अलग अलग तरह के play में acting करी है, so especially with Gillo repertory he has been associated, और वहाँ पे काफ़ी play करे हैं. आज रितुल जो परफॉर्म करने जा रहे हैं, दैट इज़, आई मीन, ही विल टेल यू, ही विल एग्जैक्टली बिगिन विद द स्टोरी, बट आई जस्ट वांट टू गिव यू अ लिटिल इंट्रोडक्शन. इट्स अ पीस बाय ऑस्कर वाइल्ड. ऑस्कर वाइल्ड इज़ वन ऑफ द मोस्ट एमिनेंट राइटर्स इन इंग्लिश लिटरेचर. तो आई एम सो एक्साइटेड. ऑफ कोर्स रितुल इज़ डूइंग इट इन हिंदी. द स्टोरी इज़ कॉल्ड द रिमार्केबल रॉकेट. अब इसमें, इससे आगे मैं कुछ नहीं कहूँगी. सो थैंक यू रितुल फॉर बीइंग पार्ट ऑफ दिस, एंड गाइज कीप कमेंटिंग, कीप राइटिंग, बी देयर. रितुल.
Hello, hello, hello sir.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine.
You're fine. I'm also very fine. I'm happy today. You know why? Because मेरे शहर सीवुड को प्रिंसेस मिल गई. पूरे 1 साल वेट किया हमारे प्रिंस ने, तब जाकर उनको प्रिंसेस मिली. स्वान की बनावट में बैठकर वो आई. उनकी डोली हंस की बनावट में थी. उनके लहंगे में हीरे लगे थे, मोती लगे थे. अगर आप देखते तो पक्का फूल डालते. जैसे ही प्रिंस ने प्रिंसेस को देखा, वो एक पैर पर बैठे और बोले, योर पिक्चर वॉज ब्यूटिफुल बट यू आर मोर ब्यूटिफुल देन द पिक्चर. रानी शर्मा गई. अब बात ही ऐसी थी, उनका चेहरा लाल हो गया. मैं साइड में खड़ा था. मेरी आदत है थोड़ा, मैं मन ही मन बोलता हूँ, तो मैंने मन ही मन बोला, शी वॉज लाइक अ वाइट रोज बिफोर बट नाउ शी इज रेड रोज। और सबने सुन लिया, सब बोलने लगे व्हाइट रोज रेड रोज, व्हाइट रोज रेड रोज, व्हाइट रोज रेड रोज, और सब बोल रहे थे व्हाइट रोज रेड रोज। और सामने खड़े किंग ने भी सुन लिया। उनको अच्छा लगा कि उनकी डॉटर इन लॉ की तारीफ हो रही, तो उन्होंने मेरी तरफ देखकर कहा और बोले इसकी सैलरी डबल कर दीजिए। उसी वक्त प्रिंस ने प्रिंसेस का हाथ अपने हाथ में लिया और आगे चले। जैसे ही वो आगे चले, पीछे से 4 लोग आए और उनके सर को कवर कर लिया पर्पल कलर के वेलवेट कपड़े से। दोनों बहुत खूबसूरत लग रहे थे। दोनों बैंक्वेट के टॉप पर जाकर बैठे और दोनों आंखों ही आंखों से इशारे कर रहे थे। मैंने फिर से देख लिया और मैंने फिर से बोला दे आर मेड फॉर ईच अदर। और फिर से किंग ने सुन लिया और वो फिर से बोले इसकी सैलरी डबल कर दो। और मेरी मौज हो गई। नहीं, मेरी मौज इस वजह से नहीं हुई कि मेरी सैलरी डबल हो गई। एक्चुअली मेरी मौज इस वजह से नहीं हुई कि मेरी सैलरी डबल हो गई, क्योंकि मेरी सैलरी पहले से 0 थी। तो जब राजा ने डबल करी तो 0 इंटू 2 0, फिर उन्होंने डबल करी तो 0 इंटू 2 0। मौज इस वजह से थी क्योंकि राजा का आदेश था कि जब भी वो फ्लूट बजाएं तो प्रजा नाचे, और हम नाच रहे थे भाई, उनका आदेश था। एक बात बताऊं, इनको बजाना वजाना कुछ नहीं आता, 2 ही सुर आते हैं, जब चाहे जहां चाहे वैसे बजाते हैं और हम लोग डांस करते हैं। जब हम लोग डांस कर करके थक गए और ये बजा बजा के थक गए तो फिर बोले जाओ आतिशबाजी शुरू करो जाए, फायर क्रैकर्स लाइट करे जाए। और मैं गया और मैंने गार्डन के एंड पर अनार रखा, चकरगिन्नी रखी और रॉकेट रखा। हाँ, थक गया मैं। इतना जो नचाया उन्होंने। कोई बोल रहा है क्या आप लोगों में से? कुछ डिस्टरबेंस आ रही है? कौन बोल रहा है भाई? कोई आप बोल रहे हो क्या? सर आप बोल रहे हो क्या? ये लोग बोल रहे हैं क्या? इधर से कुछ आवाज आ रही है। क्रैकर्स बात कर रहे हैं क्या? आप बोल रहे हो क्या? हाँ, आप बोल रहे हो? अनार कितने खूबसूरत हैं ये लोग, नहीं? अगर ये पटाखे होते तो इतने खूबसूरत ना होते। आई हैव ट्रैवल्ड द वर्ल्ड, और ट्रैवल करने से आपका दिमाग खुलता है, आपके प्रेजुडिस निकल जाते। बेवकूफ चक्करगिन्नी, पूरे 3 दिन लगते हैं ट्रैवल करने को। 3 days। और तुमने दुनिया देखी कहाँ है? जमीन पर तो रहती हो। मैंने दुनिया देखी है खड़े होकर। तुमने दुनिया को खड़े होकर देखा है, पर मैंने जमीन पर रहकर देखा है। मैंने जमीन के साथ बैठकर दुनिया देखी है। और जिस जगह को तुम प्यार करो वही तुम्हारी दुनिया होती है। लव, लेकिन लव रहा नहीं, क्योंकि पोएट ने मार दिया है। इतना जो लिखा है, इतना लिखा है कि लव मर गया है। लव इज डेड, लव इज डेड, लव इज नॉट डेड। Everybody loves me. You all love me, no? Yes. Because I'm a remarkable rocket. कितने खुश नसीब हैं प्रिंस और प्रिंस कि जिस दिन मैं फूटूंगा उनकी शादी हो रही है। अबे हम लोग खुश नसीब हैं, वो नहीं। तुम लोग होगे, मैं नहीं। Because I'm a remarkable rocket. मेरी माँ रिमार्केबल थी, मेरे पापा रिमार्केबल थे। मेरी माँ ग्रेट चक्रगिन्नी थी। अपने टाइम पर वो 35 बार घूमी थी, 35 बार। तालियां रुकी नहीं रही थी। और मेरे पापा मेरी तरह रिमार्केबल रॉकेट थे। इतना गन पाउडर था कि एक बार ऊपर गए थे तो लोगों को लगा था कि ये नीचे ही नहीं आएंगे। पेपर में निकला था पायरोटेक्निक्स आर्ट एट इट्स बेस्ट। पायरोटेक्निस्ट पहलो क्या बोल रहा है? Pyrotechnist, art of firecrackers, idiots. What was I saying? क्या बोला था मैं? I forgot because of them. You idiot! Rude! How rude of you to interrupt me! I'm interrupted. I'm sensitive person. Sensitive? Sensitive? Yes, I'm sensitive person. You know, I cry. You know, I'm very sensitive. अगर तुम लोग को सोचना चाहिए मेरे बारे में, you all should think about me. Yes, you all should think about me. तुम दोनों को भी मेरे बारे में सोचना चाहिए. मैं हमेशा अपने बारे में सोचता हूँ और मैं चाहता हूँ कि लोग मेरे बारे में सोचे. Yes, think about me. अगर मुझे कुछ हो जाए तो क्या होगा? राजा का क्या होगा? प्रिंस का क्या होगा? रोएंगे वो लोग, रोएंगे. प्रिंसेस तो रो रो के हालत बुरी हो जाएगी. तुम लोग सोचो मेरे बारे में. I'm feeling very bad. I'm very feeling bad. I will cry. I will cry. I will cry. I will cry. I'm crying. I'm crying. I'm crying. तो ये हाल था हमारे रॉकेट का. इतना रोया कि भीग गया. सामने से आदेश आ चुका था कि आतिशबाजी शुरू करी जाए. सो मैं गया और मैंने अनार को, चक्करगिन्नी को और रॉकेट को भी आग लगा दी. चारों तरफ उजेला ही उजेला कर दिया. वाह वाह मेरे अनार, कमाल कर दिया इसने. अपना काम बखूबी निभाया. चक्करगिन्नी, वाह, द रिमार्केबल चक्करगिन्नी का भी रिकॉर्ड तोड़ दिया. 50 बार घूमी है महोदय. ये तो कुछ करे ही नहीं. ये कुछ कर ही नहीं पाए. भाई क्या किया आपने? क्या किया आपने? ये रोते ही चले गए. ये कुछ कर ही नहीं पाए. वाह, द रिमार्केबल रॉकेट. इतना रोए कि उड़ ही नहीं पाए. इनका गन पाउडर ही जाम हो गया. इनको आदेश मिला है कि इनको उठा के फेंका जाए और हमने फेंक दिया इनको कीचड़ में. एक दिन में रॉकेट की लाइफ चेंज हो गई. रॉयल लाइफ से मड लाइफ, रॉयल लाइफ से कॉमन लाइफ. अब यहां पर इनको अलग अलग तरीके के लोग मिले और जो पहला आदमी था वो बिल्कुल इन्हीं की तरह था. ना वो किसी की सुनता था और ना वो किसी को बोलने देता था. Remarkable rocket. His voice is good, no? Just like me. See, this is the most musical voice. See, there is music, just like the king voice. See, farmer की wife बोल लेती. She can't sleep because of my voice. See how popular I am. You will also be popular. Good conversation. We had good conversation. Good conversation. This was conversation. This was like lecture. He is giving lecture to the remarkable rocket. Conversation is when two people talk, no? Like we are talking. So I am saying something, you are also saying something, yeah. So yeah, say. You all can say something. We are talking, no? So say. Say. Yeah, say. Yeah. I get you. So let me have conversation with this duck. कौन है भाई ये? क्या काम करते हो इधर? आई एम रिमार्केबल रॉकेट एंड आई एम फ्रॉम रॉयल पैलेस. हाँ ठीक है, रॉयल पैलेस से हो. काम क्या करते हो? मैं उड़ता हूं और मैं बस उड़ता हूं. ये काम करते हो? अरे काम क्या करते हो? शेपर्ड हो, फार्मर हो, बैकस्मिथ हो, काम क्या करते हो? नहीं, ये सब काम हम थोड़ी ना करते. हम तो सोचते हैं पॉलिटिक्स के बारे में, इकोनॉमिक्स के बारे में, बिजनेस के बारे में हम सोचते हैं. नाकारा हो हैं? कुछ काम नहीं करते हैं. ये सोचते हैं, जस्ट थिंकिंग. कुछ काम किया करो. रॉकेट, पॉलिटिक्स, इकोनॉमिक्स. जैसे ही डक खरी खोटी सुना के गई रॉकेट को, वैसे ही दो लड़के आए और उन्होंने बेचारे रॉकेट की हालत देखकर सोचा कि वो एक वुड है, लकड़ी है। तो उन्होंने रॉकेट को उठाया और उन्होंने अपने बॉनफायर में डाल दिया। You boys, I am not wood. I am rocket. I am remarkable rocket. These boys doesn't understand. समझो तुम लोग इस बात को, प्लीज समझो। समझ रहे हो? तो समझाओ इनको, प्लीज सर समझाओ इनको। They are not understanding. They are not. But sir, I am getting heated. मुझे गर्मी लग रही है ना। आई थिंक मेरा डैम्पनेस चला जाएगा, मेरा मॉइस्चर चला जाएगा और शायद मैं उड़ सकता हूँ। शायद मैं थोड़ा थोड़ा मेरा जा रहा है ना। या मैं उड़ रहा हूँ। यस, मेरा गन पाउडर फिर से यस काम कर रहा है। ये मुझे देखो मैं उड़ने वाला हूँ। आज मेरा दिन है। ये देखो Yes! Hello, bird. Yes, bird. Yeah, see, there is palace also. Palace. Yeah. Woo! Oh my God. I'm feeling so good. After a long time, I'm feeling so good. I'm feeling very light, no? After I've come at such a height, I'm feeling very light. बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है मुझे, अच्छा फील हो रहा है। इससे पहले क्यों नहीं हुआ मुझे ऐसा फील? मतलब आज कुछ लाइटनेस है माहौल में। आज मेरा शायद दिन भी है, इस वजह से आज मेरा आखिरी दिन है, शायद इस वजह से मैं ज्यादा लाइट फील कर रहा हूँ। पर ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है आज? शायद मैं जब जमीन पर था तो शायद मैं ज्यादा सुनता नहीं था किसी की। आज मैं सुन पा रहा हूँ। यू नो, आई कैन हियर द क्राउड, आई कैन हियर दिस, आई कैन रियली लिसन, आई कैन रियली सी यू ऑल, आई कैन सी एवरीवन, आई कैन फील, आई एम फीलिंग। जब मैं नीचे था तो मुझे कुछ फील ही नहीं होता था, मैं कुछ सोच ही नहीं पाता था। मैं बस ये सोचता था कि लोग क्या सोचेंगे, आप सब क्या सोचोगे। अगर मैं नीचे होता तो मैं बस ये सोचता कि आप सब क्या सोचोगे। पर आज मैं ये सब कुछ भी नहीं सोच रहा हूँ। मुझे फर्क ही नहीं पड़ रहा, बस मैं एंजॉय कर रहा हूँ। मैं अपने काम को एंजॉय कर रहा हूँ। आई एम एंजॉयिंग माई सेल्फ। मैं बहुत खुश नसीब हूँ कि आज मुझे ये रियलाइज हुआ कि रिमार्केबल रॉकेट रिमार्केबल नहीं था, लाइफ है रिमार्केबल, ये मूवमेंट है रिमार्केबल। और आज मेरा आखिरी मूवमेंट है और मैं थोड़ी देर में फूट जाऊंगा, बट मैं खुश हूं कि मुझे ये रियलाइज हुआ है। बूम! नहीं।
Thank you so much, Ritul. People who have joined online now, please continue, stay till the end, and please keep liking and commenting. We are going to read out your comments in the end. We are going to. So Ritul he has just I think he's storytelling, and I was very happy that he picked up Oscar Wilde, because that's a little odd story, because he mainly writes, of course, for grown-ups, and even adults and grown-ups, everybody can discover. But Oscar Wilde has some fantastic stories which are appropriate for all ages. So I was very happy that he chose, which was a little odd story. And now we are moving into a zone which is India, and we have two wonderful stories from India. But the first performer that we have is Gitanjali Shetty Kaul. Gitanjali, I mean, in fact, both the performers, they are very seasoned performers that we have. So Gitanjali के बारे में हम जितना बोले उतना कम है. Gitanjali has this wonderful, in case I'm missing out something, please help me to add on. All right. So Gitanjali works towards a lot of her stories, for healing and transforming. And she's quite an expert. She in fact has a lot of storytelling sessions and everything which helps in that. And personally, I believe that the kind of times that we are in, where mental well-being is very key, essential. I think you are doing wonderful work by spreading this kind of stories and dealing with this kind of issues. So in fact, she had a very beautiful session yesterday, which she told me, and I was really flabbergasted by what she was doing. That she was kind of having all the single parents, and they were sharing their stories about what it is to be a single parent and the struggles and the good or bad things, whatever. And I really felt that it was a beautiful thing that you did, and I'm sure you would have heard lot great stories. And not only that, Gitanjali told me one thing that so I have trained so many storytellers. So yes, she is a wonderful, so many storytellers in Mumbai have come from her coaching, her institution, she runs something called co-founder of Secret Passages, and she's also a voice and a story coach, award winner of course, and she was a speaker at Women Economic Forum. She also has theatre productions, so she has this little, she again took some like very interesting stories like Blue Umbrella and all that, which she creates in a plays, you know. So so for children she has done this fabulous and varied work, which I'm very excited about. I'm not going to tell you in detail, of course, the story she will say. Can I announce the title, or you want to do it yourself? Yeah, so we'll go to Gitanjali now. So please put your hands together for Gitanjali. Gitanjali Shetty, Kaul. And so she's just taking, I think, a second. She's miking herself up. So तब तक मुझे थोड़ा और झेल लीजिए प्लीज. इसलिए मैंने सारी वारी पहन ली ताकि एटलीस्ट वो विजुअली प्रॉब्लम नहीं हो, यू नो. अगर कुछ हुआ तो मैं ऐसा टाइम पास के लिए थोड़ा ऐसा ऐसा कर दूंगी. सो इट्स लाइक ओके, आई न्यू दैट देयर विल बी दिस टेक्निकल ग्लिचेस एंड वी हैव टू डील विद देम. द बेस्ट वे इज जस्ट अट्रैक्ट, आई मीन व्हाटएवर वी कुड डू. सो माय ऑनलाइन ऑडियंस, प्लीज, have we got any comments, Pawan, so far? Yeah, we can we have somebody can read? Please, somebody who can read come. मतलब मैं read कर सकती हूँ पर मेरे पास चश्मे नहीं है, तो मैं जो पढ़ सकता है उसको बोलूँगी. Please, Saumik. So we have this great team here at Story Circus. So we will keep introducing one by one each of them who have been working really hard to put all of this together. So as much I'm thankful to my guests, I'm equally thankful to my team because they really work hard. So please, Saumik, read out the comments.
हिंदी कुमार जी ने लिखा है, बहुत ही अच्छी प्रस्तुति रितुल जी. फिर उन्होंने दोबारा कमेंट किया है, रॉकेट की बहुत ही अच्छी अभिव्यक्ति. फिर प्रीति ने तालियां बजाई हैं बहुत सारी. और फिर अंकिता सिंह ने लिखा है, वेटिंग फॉर गीत. हाँ, वेटिंग फॉर गीत.
हाँ, सो प्लीज़ अब वेट, अब गीतांजलि इज़ कमिंग ओनली राइट अवे. सो ये थोड़ा ऑनलाइन ऑफलाइन साथ में मैनेज करने में हम लोग भी थोड़े अभी थोड़े, आई मीन होल वर्ल्ड इज ट्रेंड, बट हम लोग शायद दिस इज़ अ टेक्निकल इशू दैट एवरीबडी कीप्स डीलिंग विद. एनी हूँ, सो गीतांजलि इज जॉइनिंग अस. यू नो, जैसे हमने बोला कि एक स्टोरी होता है कि एवरी स्टोरी हैज़ अ बिगिनिंग, मिडल एंड एंड, और जबकि हम तो यहाँ अथर्व में खाली बिगिनिंग की बात करें. बट द थिंग इज, दिस इज एडिशन, दिस स्टोरी टेलिंग विल कीप गोइंग ऑन. इन द मीनवाइल मैं थोड़ा प्रमोशन का काम भी कर देती हूँ यहाँ के लोगों के लिए. मतलब ये तो मौके पे चौका लगाने वाली बात है, राइट? ओके, तो हमारा इंस्टाग्राम पे पेज है स्टोरी सर्कस, आप प्लीज़ उसे फॉलो करिएगा. हाँ, अगर नहीं कर रहे हो तो मैं ऐसा अज्यूम कर ही रही हूँ कि आप कर ही रहे होंगे. आप इतने अच्छे दिखते हैं, मुझे एवरीबडी इज क्वाइट पर्सन, मुझे लगता है उनको देख के ऐसा वाइब आ रहा है कि आप कर रहे हो. सो नहीं करे तो मेरे वाइब को करेक्ट करने के लिए कर दीजिएगा. एंड स्टोरी सर्कस का चैनल भी है यूट्यूब पे, जहाँ पे ये लाइव स्ट्रीम हो रहा है. प्लीज़ दोज हु आर देयर, प्लीज़ सब्सक्राइब. हाँ, लगे हाथों दो काम हो जाएगा, टाइम पास भी हो जाएगा और एक क्लिक भी हो जाएगा. सो हमको एक यू नो, वी विल गेट 1 सब्सक्राइबर. सो प्लीज़ डू इट. वी आर, एंड आई think we'll now have Gitanjali coming over. Okay, so Gitanjali and we have Usha Venkatraman following her straight after that. So Usha ji is also one of the like a leading pioneer storytellers of Mumbai, rather India. She's like, if you are naming के चलो इंडिया के 5 या 7 known storytellers का नाम लो तो उसमें उषा जी comes, Usha Venkatraman. And after Gitanjali Shetty we have her coming over. I will also tell you about the second session wherein we have 3 fabulous performers, so be ready for that as well. So can we start with you? कहानियाँ खत्म हो रही है, प्लीज़ आप रुके रहिएगा, रुके रहिएगा, रुके रहिएगा. आप ऐसा समझिएगा कि आप यहाँ बैठे हैं हमारे साथ. दैट्स द ब्यूटी ऑफ इट. सो पता है कि एक्चुअली शायद ये ऑनलाइन वाले जो हैं उनको तो पता ही होता है कि हाउ वी डू 10 थिंग्स, यू नो. लाइक जैसे पहले वो सीरियल देखने में नहीं लोग ऐसा, वहाँ सीरियल चल रही है, वहाँ घर में सब्जियाँ छौंक रहे हैं, you know. So now we do that with seminars and big panel discussions also.
ये बराबर है कान के पास. Just check.
Yes,
No, yo, this is fine now. But I'm not sure the upper here. Okay. Thank you.
further ado, Gitanjali Shetty Kaul. Please give her a big
Thank you everyone. So I had to remove my petha last minute. Sorry petha, you can be aside now. So after Ritul's performance, we were flying high up in the sky, right? Well, so let's all sit on the story carpet and keep flying. Yeah, let's fly. And he said birds are coming, so let's all put our heads down. Come on, heads down. Yeah, let the birds go. Yeah, and we could move side. Let the aeroplane also move. La 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 la. La 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 la, let's land on the storyland. Let's dig story. Come on, dig up. See, I came prepared for a story, but I don't know which story I'm going to tell now. So you'll all have to start digging my story. And yeah, dust. Show me which story. Same, matching. Show me yours. Matching, magical matching. Yes. तो मैं यही कहानी बोलने वाली हूँ. Correct. It's coming. So ये कहानी है काफी पुरानी, yet very refreshing, just like limbu pani. So कहानी है pre-independence time की, and it is a story of a girl. Her name was Minnie, and stories of that time when Kolkata was called Calcutta. And this little girl Minnie, she was around 7-8 years old, and she was filled with insatiable curiosity. She would keep asking her family lots of questions like why the giraffe has got long neck, yes, and why the elephant has got long trunk, and how does it rain. So you see, Minnie was 7-8 years old, and those days girls didn't go to school, and Minnie used to wear a sari, and she would keep questioning. And you know, her mom was busy cooking, washing, cleaning. Her mom had no time to listen to Minnie's questions. The mom would say, quiet. Your mom says that? Your mom says quiet? Keep quiet? Anyone mom says here? Keep quiet? But Minnie's father, who was a writer, would find Minnie being quite very unnatural. He would say, come Minnie, come. And his bench used to face the window. And he would make Minnie sit on the bench and ask questions. Minnie batao. And at that point of time, the writer used to write maybe chapter 2 or maybe chapter 17 or maybe chapter 3. But he would still stop to answer Minnie's questions. Minnie would have vague questions. Like, Dada, the doorkeeper was telling me, he says crow for crow. Tell me, is it crow or is it crow? And before Minnie's father would tell her if it's crow or if it's crow, Minnie would leap to another question, which would be something like, Dada, tell me something. You know, this Ramdayal Chacha, he was telling me that, you know, when the elephant goes up in the sky and he's dancing, he turns pink. And then when he turns pink, he lifts his trumpet up like this, and then it begins to, he splashes water, and that's how it rains. That's how it rains. Minnie was so full of questions and so full of curiosity that one day she would ask her father, Dada, who's mama of yours? So many questions, I tell you. But Minnie's father had a lot of patience. He would sit and listen to every question of Minnie. Minnie's father used to write his story right on that bench which was facing the window. From that window came the luminous glow of light, the morning light, the evening light, the shimmering moonlight, and that's how his brain tinkled and thought of stories. But the best was to have Minnie sitting there and holding that window and looking out at people walking on the streets. And he would wait for Minnie ki agli sawal kaun si hogi. One such morning when the sunlight was warm and Minnie's father was writing the 17th chapter of his story, which was about a girl who had just reached a library and she had just found a book. Does that happen to all of you? You reach a library and you just find the right book? Yes? And the story had reached there and Minnie was, Dada, सुनाई दे रहा है आपको? सुनो सुनो. And Dada was also trying to listen, and from far she heard a voice, and she repeated, "Oh Kabuli wala! Oh Kabuli wala!" From far there was a man walking slowly towards this lane. He had a turban on his head and a loose kurta and a patiala, and he used to wear kajal in his eyes. He had come from the mountains of Afghanistan, a place called Kabul. You know, people, they travel from village to town to sell their goods. Similarly, Kabuliwala had traveled all the way from Kabul to sell his dry fruits, cashews, raisins, almonds. As soon as he heard this voice, he came closer to the gate and he stood there. Huge man, you see, standing at the gate, and little Minnie got so scared, she hid behind her father. Now father looked at Minnie and looked at that man. And father went towards the man and Kabuliwala said, मेरा नाम रहमान है और ये काजू किशमिश बादाम बिटिया रानी कहाँ है? Now you know this Minnie, she lived in this blind belief that inside Kabuliwala's black bag there were children, at least 2 or 3. And she was so scared that she would hide. She never wanted to be inside that bag. Now father had decided that Minnie has to get rid of this belief. So father decided that today I'm going to do something. So father took Minnie in his arms and told Kabuliwala, चाचा आपके बैग में क्या क्या है? चाचा ने बोला काजू किशमिश ले लो बिटिया ले लो. But Minnie was not tempted to touch even one bit of that. She's scared of him. When you're scared of someone, you don't even want to go close to him, right? Minnie wanted to run. You know, just like how you hold a cat and the cat wants to run away. Have you ever tried holding the cat? You know, I have a cat in the house. He rarely comes in my arms. And similarly, Minnie wanted to run. But Minnie's father had decided that today Minnie is going to get off this fear. So Minnie's father looked at this Kabuliwala and said, "Bag ke andar ke dikhana." So Kabuliwala opened his bag, and inside the bag, full of cashews, raisins, almonds. And Minnie wanted to eat them all. And unknowingly she took the cashew from his hand and she began biting. And they both looked into each other's eyes, and it was not just love, it was love for each other, and they became friends from that day onwards, as though they were inseparable. Do you try doing this? Come on, put this together. Yeah, try separating. Difficult, right? Minnie and Kabuliwala became inseparable from that day onwards. That day when Kabuliwala Chacha gave Minnie some dry fruits, Minnie's father gave Kabuliwala some coins. And when Minnie's father returned home, guess what he saw? He saw Minnie's mother was screaming at Minnie. कहाँ जाना नहीं लेना चाहिए stranger से कुछ भी? आपकी मम्मी भी ऐसे बोलती है ना? हाँ नहीं बोलती है ऐसे? कहाँ जाना नहीं लेना चाहिए? किसने दिया ये पैसा? काबुली वाले चच। देवा पे। इतने में Minnie's father came and he said, "It's okay, I know the man who gave her this money. I think he returned. It's okay, I know." And Minnie's mother said, "I tell you not to trust on these strangers." But there was something about Kabuliwala. Minnie's father had seen through his eyes. He was trustworthy. Next day onwards, they became the best of friends. sitting. You know, Minnie used to sit on the bench and Kabuliwala Chacha used to sit down near her feet, and they looked like they were of the same height. Not just that, they looked like they were of the same age. And not just that, they also laughed on the same joke. And they talked and they talked. And they laughed and they laughed so much that when Minnie's father looked at all this from the distance, he was touched. You see, Minnie had found a listener, a patient listener. And Minnie would ask, चाचा बताओ ना आपके काले बैग के अंदर क्या है, बताओ बताओ. You know, Kabuliwala Chacha was from the mountains, so he had this nasal voice. So he would say, मेरे बैग के अंदर है हड्डी. And then would come a story of an elephant. And together they made up a song. Come on, do all of you. 1, 2. 1, 2. Kabuliwala aaya, Kabuliwala aaya, कहानी लेके आया, कहानी लेके आया, बड़े बड़े बैग में, बड़े बड़े बैग में, किस्से लेके आया, हाथी के किस्से, घोड़े के किस्से, चींटी के किस्से. And it went on and on and on. Minnie's father was so happy to see both of them together. Minnie would come running to, and she would wait. And you know, in her sari she had tied up all the dry fruits and she would eat bit by bit looking at Kabuliwala Chacha. It was one of the most beautiful times of her childhood, I guess. I hope she remembers. Then came January. January was the time when Kabuliwala went back to his home. Where was his home? Can anyone tell me? In mountains, Kabul. And you know, he had given his goods to everyone out there. So he had just gone and he was gone and he was picking up, you know, money from everyone. And at this point of time, there was this one guy who wasn't ready to give money to Kabuliwala. And what did they have? Dishum, dishum, dishum fight. Yes? And at that point of time, the police jeep came and caught who? Kabuliwala, and took him to the jail. On the way, when they were going to the jail, walking towards the jail path, it was Minnie's house. Minnie came walking and she asked, Kabuliwala Chacha, kidhar ja rahe ho? You know, when Minnie and Kabuliwala were sitting and chattering all the time, there was one funny joke that they used to crack. You know, those days, girls used to be always told like this, "To bitya, sasural kab jaogi?" And Minnie just doesn't know what is sasural. So Minnie would say, "Chacha, kab jaoge?" And Kabuliwala Chacha said, "Mera sasural to police hai." And when Minnie saw Kabuliwala Chacha walking with the police, she said, "Chacha, aap sasural ja rahe ho, kab aoge?" And Kabuliwala Chacha turned and said, "Kuch hi dinon mein aunga." And he went. You see, Minnie kept waiting for Kabuliwala Chacha for a few days, but she was growing, you know. From 10, she became 12, she became 13. She found her own friends, her girl friends. She got so busy that she didn't even have time to spend with her father so much. She didn't sit on the bench anymore, and she hardly entered that room. You know, her father must have become the best author during that time. But yes, Minnie grew up, and time passed by. And then came autumn again. Rains had just settled. It was Durga Puja, and it was Minnie's wedding. The whole lane was decorated. The sun was shining so bright, just like pure gold. Every brick on the walls was shining, full of light. There were chandeliers in every room. They were resounding. And the music was playing at the courtyard. There were floral decorations on every gangways and passages of that house. When Minnie's father was walking towards one nook and corner and becoming nostalgic about those days when Minnie was young, and when he reached the gate on that side, he saw an old man, Kabuliwala. He had some loss of energy on that day. He looked older. His shoulders drooped. But in his hand he had cashews and almonds and kismis. बिटिया रानी कहाँ है? काजू लाया हूँ बिटिया के लिए. Now you see, Minnie's father had never encountered someone who had just come from jail straight to his house on his daughter's wedding ceremony. So he looked at Minnie, he looked at Kabuliwala Chacha and said, today is not the fine day, perhaps you can come another day, another month, please. Kabuliwala Chacha was very sad. He said, मैं अभी अभी जेल से रिहा हुआ हूँ और मुझे बिटिया से मिलने का काफ़ी दिल था. आज नहीं, please. He was very stern. At this point of time, removed a folded paper which was very dirty, and he said, "Shabji, ये मेरे बिटिया का हैंड प्रिंट है. जब भी मैं मिनी बिटिया को देखता हूँ ना, मुझे मेरी बेटी की याद आती है. बिल्कुल वही उम्र की है वो भी. रोज रात को मैं अपने हाथ को इस हाथ पे लेके सोता हूँ और पिछले 8 साल से मैं यही कर रहा हूँ. एक बार बिटिया को दिखा दो." And his tears began rolling down his cheeks. Minnie's father could not hold. He called out for Minnie, and Minnie came walking. She was dressed in red sari with a sandal paste on her forehead. And she was walking. She was dressed as a bride. She came closer to Kabuliwala Chacha, and she saw the badam and the cashews and the raisins on that dirty hand. And she said, "No ways, I'm not going to eat anything with that dirty hand." You know, Minnie had grown up now. She thinks a lot. When you grow up, you think a lot, right? How did this man come from? Which Gadi, which Mercedes or local train? Which dress she is wearing? No, that's how you make your friendship, right? You know, when you grow up, you start judging people, and before you make friendship, that's what Minnie had done now. She's grown, so she's looking at him. ऊपर से नीचे, not my kind. And she walked. This was the first time. You know, he had thought Minnie will come running, छोटी सी बिटिया, और ये Minnie बड़ी हो गई. This was the first time he realized Minnie is grown up, and there was tears. He was weeping bitterly, and he just sat down. मेरी बिटिया भी तो बड़ी हुई होगी. Quietly he walked down the Calcutta lanes, and he looked at the mountains of Afghanistan. And from behind came Minnie's father, tapped at him and said, "These are banknotes. I want you to go back home and meet your daughter. And when you hug your daughter, that's going to be a blessing that you will give to my daughter. So go back home." Kabuliwala's eyes were filled with tears of joy. He was dying to go and meet his daughter. And that's the end of the story. My dear friends, being a mom of this year and this generation, I believe so much that Minnie's father surely sat down with Minnie one day and spoke about Kabuliwala Chacha. And Minnie laughed, and she made sure that next time she chooses her friends eye to eye, mind to mind, and heart to heart. And that's why till date we tell this story of Kabuliwala Chacha. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gitanjali. It was beautiful narration. I mean, Rabindranath Tagore's this story is like, obviously it's very close to our hearts. Those who have grown ups have read this, and it's very poignant, but I was very happy the way she narrated. It was so beautiful. When that moment came, I literally had, like this goosebumps. And how, Gitanjali, I was very happy how you related it to today's times, because even I do that, and I was very happy that how you brought it and connected, and there was a beautiful takeaway for the grown ups and children both. So thank you so much for being part of this.
Thank you for listening.
So please guys keep giving your comments about what you feel, or if you have something to say to Gitanjali as well. We are going to go to the next performance. Before that, obviously I'll tell you a little bit about her. I have already announced her name, Usha Venkatraman. Just before that, I just want to tell you this much, that those who are joining, अभी मैं अपना लंबा कुछ नहीं बोलूँगी. Just Story Circus, you are already on this platform here. So we do a lot of theatre production houses. We have original shows. We have digital content, infotainment content for kids and adults. And we also have, apart from that, of course, our company is bigger. And we also have something which is, we provide language services for the web shows. So there is a lot of things that we do. But what really fascinates is the infotainment content and the stories. So please stay connected. Anywho. Coming back to Usha Venkatraman, as I told you already that she's one of the pioneer storyteller in India. और वो multi hyphenate ये एक in term है आजकल. उषा जी जब ये term इन्वेंट भी नहीं हुआ था तब से मल्टी हाइफिनेटेड पर्सन है करेक्ट सो द मोमेंट आई रेड हर बायो दैट वाज द वन थिंग दैट केम टू माय माइंड दैट हाउ यू कैन बिकॉज समटाइम्स ना वी डू थोड़ा ना 3-4 चीज़ें कर अरे हम तो कितना करते हैं एंड देन आई वाज गोइंग थ्रू हर बायो एंड आई एम लाइक व्हेन आई एम रीडिंग ऑल दिस वर्ड्स अच्छा ये भी करते हैं अच्छा ये भी करते हैं एंड आई वाज रियली फैसिनेटेड एंड दैट्स व्हाट सो मैं डिटेल में नहीं आई वुड जस्ट गिव यू द थ्रू द वर्ड्स सो मुझे एक्चुअली पढ़ना पड़ेगा या बड़े बड़े फॉन्ट्स हैं हाँ टू दोज बिकॉज मैं वो कमेंट नहीं पढ़ रही उसके पीछे ऐसा कुछ नहीं है वो छोटे फॉन्ट है इसलिए मुझे नहीं पढ़ रहा है यहाँ पे मैं पढ़ सकती हूँ बड़ा है anywho so coming back to Usha ji fabulous storyteller so she's an award-winning storyteller and author, classical vocalist, violinist, vocalist. That's what. Sorry, author, classical vocalist, puppeteer, radio show host, and founder and festival director of Mumbai Storytellers Society. In fact, lot of like how I talked about Gitanjali, that secret passages. You have lot of storytellers come from secret passages. I think जो नहीं वहाँ से आते वो मुंबई Storytellers Society के साथ जुड़े हुए थे. Everybody is there. So it's like यहाँ पे ही वो पूरी दुनिया है उनकी and it's a fabulous network of storytellers and she's so senior and I'm personally very touched and humbled that she kind of agreed right away in that same call which was I was so touched. I did not really expect because I reached out to her on a whim और मैं उनसे सबसे ज़्यादा मुझे लगा कि पता नहीं how she'll say no but she was like and she said no it's about telling stories na I want to tell a story. I mean, that's what really fascinated me that you want to tell a story and beyond and above everything. मतलब मैं उनका bio 10 घंटे भी पढ़ लूँ but that is not important. What matters is that one sentence. That it's for a story, na? I want to tell a story. So that is all. I'm not going to share also what she's going to do. Let her say. But again, it's a story from our soil. And now we'll over to Usha Venkatraman ji. Please give her a big hand.
Hello. Thank you, Ulka. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. I am just a storyteller. So it's a pleasure to be here and thank you for inviting me on this wonderful occasion of World Storytelling Day. And though the theme is lost and found, it's also something that might, for the young ones who are here, especially to the males, I would say listen to my story carefully. So, I have a story I want to tell before I grow weary and old. I'm a song I want to be sung while I'm still lively and young. We are a story and a song meant to be heard, every note, every word. We are a story and a song meant to be shared. Oh, will you share my story? Will you share my story? Stories are meant to be shared. Right? It's time to listen to yet another story. Thank you, Gitanjali, for that wonderful story. Kabuliwala and Minnie, Rabindranath Tagore's all-time favorite, and for the Oscar Wilde superb narration. And today, I'm going to take you to India. But before that, the story that I've adapted for today, or which is very dear to me, is a Cuban folk tale. And this is told by Carmen Agra Didi, a wonderful storyteller whom I met in 2014 at the International Storytelling Conference in Tennessee, Jonesboro, way back, and I fell in love with that story. And I adapted this story for the Chennai Storytelling Festival. My daughter got married in 2016, and you will see why the story is dear to me. So let's listen to the story. Minakshi Karpagam Raguraman Iyer was a beautiful cockroach. She lived on a cozy lamppost in the beautiful street of Musuri village, a small town in southern India, in Tamil Nadu. And Minakshi lived on a cozy lamppost with her large, lovable, meddlesome, loud, interfering Iyer family. Now that Minakshi was 21 days old, she was ready to give her leg in marriage. She was the eldest daughter in the family. Every aunt, mommy, chitti, perima, masi, everyone was super excited, crawling with excitement. Everybody wanted to give Minakshi a gift to make her look fetching and pretty as she went courting. Ambujam Perima, Fufi, gave Minakshi an old family heirloom, rakodi, a hair clip that was pure Tanjore piece. And Amma, Minakshi's mother, gave Meenu a old family heirloom, a pattu salva, a dupatta that belonged to her great 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 grandmother. And Pati, Minakshi's grandmother, oh, she was a unique piece. She too had something to give Minakshi. A wonderful, shocking, Bayangaramana Buddhimadi, a shocking advice. What? Said Minakshi. Meenu. Yes, Pati. You are a beautiful cockroach. I know. Choosing a husband from many is the most easy part, my dear. Picking the right one is the most difficult. You mean there is a wrong one too? Ama. But Pati, how will pouring hot double filter Kumbagonam coffee on my suitor's shoes help me choose a good husband? And Meena and her grandmother began to dance around each other. The feelers were going, they were doing adavu. Tam, tit tam, kitatai, tattai, kitatam, tit tam, kitatai, tattai. Meena, listen to me. Your grandmother knows best. When you pour hot coffee on your suitor's shoes, the way he reacts or responds will tell you whether he is good husband material or not. And Minakshi gave in to her grandmother's sage advice. Pati knew best. After all years of experience. So, Appa, Minakshi's father, sent Kuppu, not the crow, not the kaka, Kili, Kuppuswami, out into the village street to spread the word that Minakshi was getting married. She was ready to choose a husband. Soon Kuppu flew from house to house, right from this end of the street where Pankaja Atte lived, to the corner house with the big Tinnai veranda where Kamu Pati lived. And soon the entire village was abuzz with the news Minakshi was ready to choose a husband. Yamperam poram, said Kamu Pati. My grandson is going. Ha! My nephew is very handsome. He is going, said Pankajata. Now the D-Day dawned bright and clear. Take a look at Meena. Minakshi wore all the wonderful gifts that were given by her family members, and then she adjusted her davani, her dupatta, her lehenga, sat down on a spool of thread, and crossed her legs and crossed her legs and crossed her legs. She didn't have long to wait. She had a long line of suitors waiting and coming up the balcony railing. The first one to arrive was Mr. Subbu. Oh, Mr. Subbu the rooster was dressed in starched white veshti, dhoti, a white kurta, and an angavastram, and bling bling wearing his dark glasses. And he jauntily rode up and said, Minakshi, Kanna, today is your lucky day, da. My lucky day? Minakshi Karpagam Raguraman Iyer, you are a beautiful cockroach. And you will look even more beautiful once you're married to me, and I have you on my wings. Brace yourself. I'm braced, said Meena. And imagine a rooster kneeling down on one bony knee, leaning forward, and he began to croon, Yennadi Meenakshi, my future pondati. Will you marry me? Won't you be my wife? Meenakshi didn't say anything. Coffee, Mr. Subbu. And she went inside. Just as prearranged, her party, her grandmother, Musari Valambal party, had a tray filled with steaming cup of Kumbagonam double filter coffee. Meenakshi took it, looked at her grandmother a little uncertainly, and dragged her steps and pretended to trip on her pavada, her lehenga, and the coffee tray went up, 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 down, 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 spilling, splashing hot coffee on Mr. Subbu's white, spotless loafers. And he lost his temper. Kikriki ki jadam, jadam mandam, you clumsy cockroach. Oh, Mr. Subbu, excuse me, I'm all feelers today. I will teach you how to serve coffee once you're married to me. You have a lot to learn, Meenakshi. Certainly not. Mr. Subbu, namaskaram. You're not the gentleman that I'm looking for. You're much too cocky for me, sir. Poit vango. And that was that. And Mr. Subbu, his face fallen, went down the balcony railing, crooning kikriki. That is cock-a-doodle-doo in Tamil. Now next on the balcony railing was Mr. Padu, the pig. Oh, he was indeed a smart, actor. He was wearing churidar, kurta and jutis, and with his, what do you call that, angavastram or the dupatta, all round his neck, he was coming up the balcony railing and he called out, Day, Meenu, it's your lucky day, da. Everybody is saying it's my lucky day. Brace yourself. I'm braced. Suddenly the wind direction changed. In the evening, is it the sea breeze blowing inwards or is it the land breeze going? I guess it's the sea breeze. And suddenly, Meenakshi curled up her dainty nose and said, Ayyo, Natha, what an unimaginable smell. She remembered her manners and said, Oh, Mr. Padu, is that some special pig cologne that you're wearing? And Mr. Padu licked his chops and oinked. Illada kanne, it is the stinky cheese, rotten peel and all the cabbage peels, stinky eggs. Oh, it is the sweet smell of my pigsty. And he licked his chops and he knelt on one pig knee and he went, Yennadi Meenakshi, oink oink, my future pondati, will you marry me? Won't you be my wife? Meenakshi didn't ask him for a cup of coffee. She went right inside. Just on cue, party grandmother was waiting there with another steaming cup, Davara tumbler of hot filter coffee. Kumbagonam, double filter coffee. And Meenakshi didn't even pretend. She tossed her tray up in the air, down, 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 spilling hot coffee on Mr. Padu's jutis. Just like this. And he was such a ham. He just went, "Oh, Meenakshi, don't test the patience of Mr. Padmanabhan." Ayyo, what a ham. He thinks he's Shah Rukh Khan. And she said, "Oh, Mr. Padu, please, let me get my washcloth and I will wash the stains of your jutis." "Ha! What does a pig need a wife for? You will more than clean up after me once you're married." Mm, mm, mm. The coffee test really works, thought Meenakshi, and she knew her grandmother was quite the wise woman. "Mr. Padmanabhan, I'm sorry, namaskaram. The balcony is closed for business. Poitu vango. You're not the gentleman that I'm looking for. You are a bore and a bore." And that was it. Mr. Padmanabhan went down the balcony railing. Oink, 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 oink. Meenakshi thought, "I've had enough of the specimens that have turned up on the balcony railing. Well, this is 1934. No one can force me to get married. The kind of specimens that are coming up on my balcony railing." And as she was about to turn and go back inside, suddenly she felt a creepy, sticky fingers that slapped on her shoulders, and she whirled around and she saw Mr. Partha, the lizard. "Oh, Mr. Partha, you shouldn't creep up on a lady like that." Mr. Partha went, "Wah, wah, wah." He put out his sticky tongue and said, "I don't creep, I sneak." And Meenakshi just didn't like the look of him. You know, there's chemistry. I'm sure all of you will understand. If the chemistry isn't right, kids, you have to grow up a little bit. Chemistry doesn't work well, then there's nothing. So she looked at him and she said, "Mr. Partha, the balcony is closed for business. Please make your way." But Mr. Partha was having none of that. "Oh, Meena, I'll die without you." "What? Die?" Meenakshi was also susceptible to flattery, just like me. Although I'm 61, I still love it when somebody says you look wonderful. So Meenakshi, and that was the edge, the little edgewise that Mr. Partha stepped in and said, "Meenakshi Karpagam Raghuraman Iyer, will you marry me?" Imagine him on one scaly knee, bending and leaning forward and going, "La la la la. Yennadi Meenakshi, my future pondati, will you marry me? Won't you be my wife?" Meenakshi was not impressed with his pin-striped suit and his shoes, and I'll talk to you about the shoes later. She went inside. The learning curve of this cockroach was getting better with each contestant. If you're a student of economics, you'll understand that. She picked up 2 filter coffees, 2 steaming Davra tumblers of filter coffee, and she walked in, didn't pretend, threw it up in the air, down, 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 splashing, spilling hot coffee on Mr. Partha's patent leather shoes. Prada, I'm thinking. And he too lost his temper. He lost his color thrice till he regained his true color. And he went, "Psst, psst." And here I thought I was going to eat you up, to marry you. You could have heard a vettilai, a pan, drop in the street. There was pin drop silence. Meenakshi looked at Mr. Partha. She looked him down from up to down, and said, Mr. Partha, you're certainly not the gentleman that I'm looking for. You're too cold-blooded for me. Please make your way. But Mr. Partha was having none of that. He wanted to have the last word. Before he swooped down, slithered down the balcony railing, and was about to dive into the gutter, sewer, he turned and said, Meenakshi, Mr. Partha, are you still talking to me, sir? Yes, let me tell you, there's nothing like a beautiful cockroach. And he dived into the gutter. Meenakshi was fulminating, fuming with anger. And she said, I've had enough. She took off her rakodi, the hair clip, and Amma's beautiful pattu salva, rested them on that spool of thread, and was about to go in when her grandmother, Musari Valam Balpati, came and said, Kanne, Kanmani, how is the morning? Party, you don't want to ask the kind of specimens that came up the balcony railing. Meena, did you think it would be easy to pick a husband? I never thought it would be difficult to. It took me 21 days to select your grandfather. And the grandmother took Meenakshi to the balcony railing, and she pointed downstairs. There was a little flower pot where rose bushes grew. It was the Iyer family's garden. And she pointed down and said, look, and there was a little brown mouse. He was raking the leaves. And she said, look at him. Yeah, he is hard working. He's not looking up, Patti. Yes, he is a hard worker. Why don't you go and try your luck with him? And Patti gave her the last imparted, the most valuable piece of advice. Just be yourself, Meena. So Meena put one dainty leg over the balcony railing, slithered down to that flower pot, and then picked up a rose petal, hid herself, and then looked one eye, and the mouse spoke, hello, namaskaram, I'm Ekambaram. Ayyo, his voice is warm as honey. Ayyo, my Kadal Mannan, oh Gemini Ganeshan, thought. And her heart went tiki-tin, tiki-tan, tiki-tin, tiki-tan. And Mr. Ekambaram said, and you? I, what's my name? I've forgotten. Her head was going round. You are Meenakshi Karpagam Raghuraman Iyer, the most beautiful cockroach. Ayyo. You think I'm beautiful, Mr. Ekambaram? I don't know, Meenakshi. I can't see. He was wearing glasses, but I can certainly hear. You're a smart, clever, witty cockroach. Who cares about beauty? Meenakshi knew he was the perfect husband material. And that's when her grandmother called out, Meena, is that your... Oh, wait a minute, Mr. Ekambaram. Meenakshi rushed inside and said, Party, he's the right one. No coffee test for him. Pongo, Pongo, go up. Party said, no, Meena, the coffee test is for everyone. But Party, he's the right one for me. Meenakshi Karpagam Raghuraman Iyer. Do you recognize that tone which your mom or dad uses? You know there is no brooking any argument with that kind of tone. And Meenakshi went, reluctantly picked up the tray, dragged her feet, and threw the coffee tray up, up, up. But suddenly Mr. Ekambaram, with a little flick of his tail, tossed the cup, and it landed bang on Meenakshi's reddish pink peep toes. And she was amazed. She knew more than anything not to get angry. So she said, "Oh, the coffee test is on the other foot, Mr. Ekambaram." "But wait a minute, Mr. Ekambaram. How did you know about the coffee test? How did you know?" And that's when Mr. Ekambaram put his arms around Meenakshi's shoulder and said, "Kanni, Kanmaniye, I too have a musuri, Valambal party." Thank you.
Good and so entertaining. We all had a great time. Superb. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. And I'll really cherish that. Thank you so much. We all had
Thank you.
super fun. And with this, we will be finishing this first session. You have something to say?
Yeah, thank you so much, Ulka. Thank you, and a big shout out to Utkarsh and Sherin, and I don't know who's the third performer. Oh, hi. Okay, wish you all the best. As Ulka said, I'm a radio show host. I have a podcast at 9, and I'm doing about, oh yeah, I have to say, let's break the bias. So that's my theme for this month. So we have a wonderful artist storyteller from Seattle, United States, and that's airing at 9, so I have to leave. And Ulka, thank you so much. I would love to stay and listen to you all. It's been a great platform, and it's my first performance in 2 years after the Udaipur Literature Storytelling Festival. This is my first public performance. Offline. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So with this, now she has in fact made us all hungry for coffee. So thankfully we have a coffee station here. So coffee, hot chocolate, please have for 10 minutes and 10-15 minutes. Please have but coffee taste nahi. Coffee taste mat karna. Warna hamara nahi, hamara cup and now we know these things. So please no coffee test, but do have coffee and taste the coffee rather than doing the test. And also the hot chocolate. We're again thankful to Kapi, and we are also thankful to D Chocolates for all the things they've done. Again, lastly, thank you again to Usha Venkatraman, Gitanjali, Shetty, Kaul. Amazing story. And Ritul Singh, where are you, Ritul? Thank you so much, Ritul, for being a part of this. So, just 10 minutes online audience, 10 minutes, and then we will have another session coming in, for which the performers are already here. So we have a Utkarsh Patel, who's a mythologist. We have Sherin Matthews, who's an amazing storyteller, and Shruparna Chatterjee. She's going to do a story through a song. So we have a wonderful combination. And also the second session, we are starting with a song which is about stories. Which is apart from our play. Without telling you, I'm announcing hum sab gaane wale hain. So we'll have that song too coming in, and some dancing too. So please stay there. Once again, please subscribe. And आपके comments हैं तो अगर आपको जल्दी है तो otherwise we would like to read the comment.
Yeah.
So this time I would like to call, I'm just joining, one second. This time I would like to call Pawan. Pawan, please come. He's also another of our team member. And now Pawan will read out the comments. Again, as I said, very thankful to everyone for being here. Just 1 minute, we are reading out, and thank you so much online audience for being there consistently, staying with us. Thank you so much for that. So Pawan is coming here, Pawan Upadhyay, and he'll read out the comments. So sorry guys, we will be connecting. We are going to read out little later. Okay?
So Hina has commented ki eye to eye, heart to heart, beautiful message for beautiful relationship. Salome Rai has commented, felt the story so beautifully narrated, was soulful, loved it. Gitanjali. Abhijit ne kaha hai excellent. Pretty ne kaha hai ki impressive narration. Usha ma'am, I have always loved this story, the way you tell it each time, it is so humorous. ट्रैवलर्स इम्पैक्ट ने कहा है काबुली वाला पर्सन हु सेल्स थिंग्स वाइल रोमिंग अराउंड. मैम द वे ऑफ रिसाइटिंग द स्टोरी इज ग्रेट. प्रीति ने कहा द स्टोरी वॉज वेयर व्हेन आई वाज इन क्लास 5th. मेहर गही ने कहा है सुपर्ब गीतांजलि. और भी बहुत ढेर सारे इमोजीज और स्माइलीज हैं जो कि मैं मतलब कन्वे नहीं कर सकता ऐसे पढ़ के, बट बहुत बहुत झड़ी लगी हुई है. और अभी अगले सेशन में और भी हम लोग मतलब ये सारे कमेंट्स पढ़ते जाएंगे. तो प्लीज स्टे ट्यून हियर. गिविंग द माइक टू मैम.
Thank you so much for staying over. Thank you.